Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute multi-layered brilliance of Geoffrey Chaucer's masterpiece. If you're studying this iconic text, you already know it's not just a collection of random stories. The true genius of Chaucer actually lies in how he physically constructed the text itself. So today, we're going to look under the hood to see exactly how this narrative engine operates, specifically zeroing in on the character arcs and structural devices that make it so incredibly groundbreaking for your next literature essay.
Okay, let's just dive right in by defining the core engine of the whole text, the frame narrative. Now, Chaucer likely adapted this concept from Boccaccio's Decameron. But, in Boccaccio's work, it's just nobles sitting around telling stories to distract themselves from the Black Plague. Chaucer takes this common literary convention and completely flips it into a dynamic, moving journey. The frame narrative is the outer shell of the story, the real-world setting of this pilgrimage to the shrine of Thomas à Becket. And it provides the perfect excuse for all these inner tales to be told. Now, here's what's actually super cool about this. By having a diverse group of travelers share stories on the road, Chaucer basically invented the buddy road trip movie genre. Literally centuries before Hollywood, Chaucer realized that if you trap a group of wildly different, clashing personalities together on a long, slow journey, you are guaranteed to get incredible comedy, friction, and drama. It's just a brilliant structural way to keep the audience hooked.
So, here's how we're going to break down this giant nested doll of a structure today. First, the pilgrimage frame narrative. Second, the rules of the game. Third, unpacking the tellers. Fourth, the art of quitting. And finally, the ultimate unfinished masterpiece. All right, section 1, the pilgrimage frame narrative, the outermost layer. So if you're writing an essay on this, here is a crucial make or break point. You absolutely must distinguish between Chaucer, the genius author, and Chaucer, the bumbling narrator. When you're analyzing this text, remember that Chaucer literally wrote himself into his own book. But he doesn't write himself as a brilliant poet. No, he depicts himself as this shy, overweight, foolish observer who stares at the ground and tells terrible, clunky rhymes. By playing the fool in the frame narrative, the real author Chaucer gives himself the perfect cover to ruthlessly satirize the rest of society without seeming overly hostile. And what this journey does is act as an estate's satire. It forces the incredibly rigid social classes of the 14th century to just smashed together on equal footing. Remember the historical context here. Post-Black Death England was incredibly turbulent. Peasant revolts were raging, the church's authority was taking a massive hit, and a new middle class of merchants was suddenly rising. Normally, the nobility, the church, and the peasantry kept entirely to themselves. But on a pilgrimage, everyone is equal under God. They all share the exact same road, which means the highly noble knight is forced to rub shoulders with the drunken bawdy miller. Let's move on to section 2, rules of the game. So the host of the Tabardin, Harry Bailey, essentially transforms a pious religious journey into a highly structured, high-stakes competition. When the pilgrims gather, he proposes this game to keep them from riding dumb as a stone, and everyone eagerly agrees. This shows us that for a lot of these travelers, this pilgrimage is far more of a fun, medieval tourist expedition than a devout religious quest. Look at this quote right here. This gives you exact textual evidence of the criteria for winning the whole game. Harry Bailey decrees that the winner has to provide both significance and pleasure. Significance refers to the moral lesson or the intellectual weight of the story, right? While pleasure just means how entertaining and fun it is. This is literally Chaucer, the author, secretly telling us, the readers, his own ultimate rubric for good literature. It has to teach you something, but it also has to be a total blast to read. All right, section 3, unpacking the tellers. Now we're zooming into the next layer. The stories these pilgrims tell aren't just random filler. They act like mirrors, reflecting the teller's own character arcs. Contrast is absolutely everything here. Take the pardoner. His profound hypocrisy is revealed because his inner tale directly contradicts his outer behavior in the frame narrative. In his prologue, he openly brags to the group about conning poor people by selling them fake holy relics, like literally pig bones that he pretends are saints' bones. He lives entirely for money, yet he turns around and tells this chillingly effective moral tale about 3 rioters who murder each other over a pile of gold. He's literally using the high moral significance of his tale to terrify his audience into handing him more cash. On the flip side, we have the wife of Bath. She uses her tale as a total extension of her own lived experience, arguing that authority comes from actual life, not just from dusty scripture. I mean, she has survived 5 marriages, literally fighting for dominance.
At one point, she tore pages out of a book of wicked wives that her husband Jenkin was reading, which started a fistfight that left her deaf in one ear. Her tale perfectly matches that bold personality. It's an Arthurian legend where a knight can only save his life by learning that what women desire most is sovereignty or control over their husbands. Her fiction is essentially a manifesto for her reality.
Which brings us to Section 4, the art of quitting. Listen, the frame narrative is absolutely not static. It is an active, messy battleground where tales are used as weapons to mock or completely one-up the previous speaker. This is where the structural genius of the text really shines. The pilgrims aren't just patiently waiting their turn in a polite little circle. They are fiercely competitive, and they use their stories to directly attack one another.
And this domino effect completely shatters the host's nice, polite order. It shows how personal rivalries drive the momentum of the entire book. See, the host originally wanted a monk to go second, keeping the focus squarely on the upper estates, but the miller is totally wasted and he rudely interrupts to tell a bawdy fabliaux, a dirty little fable involving adultery, elaborate pranks, and a foolish old carpenter getting tricked. It's the exact opposite of the knight's high-minded romance. And then the reeve takes it personally because he happens to be a carpenter by trade. So he immediately fires back with a story about two scholars completely ruining a corrupt miller's life.
If you're writing a paper, definitely drop this specific quote from the miller in there. It perfectly proves how the lower classes aggressively subverted the nobility's idealized worldview. The miller violently swears by blood and bones and just demands the floor. This is revolutionary stuff. In medieval society, a peasant would never, ever interrupt a noble knight, but inside the safety of this tale-telling game, the rigid social hierarchy completely breaks down, allowing the lower estates to quit or pay back the upper estates. And the reeve? He takes the miller's insult incredibly personally, weaponizing his own tale for immediate revenge. He literally says he will quite the miller by putting a blinder over a proud miller's eye, meaning he's going to make a total fool out of him. The stories here aren't just art for art's sake, they are social ammunition. The competition isn't just about winning a free dinner anymore. It is about defending your pride and your profession. Finally, Section 5, the ultimate unfinished masterpiece. Here's the big reveal. This grand competition the host established, it's never actually finished or judged. If you do the math, with around 30 pilgrims each telling 4 tales, we should have 120 stories. We only got 24. Some of the guildsmen mentioned in the prologue never speak a single word. There is no grand arrival at the cathedral, no final winner crowned, and definitely no free dinner awarded. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on for your exams. If they never reach Canterbury and the contest is never actually judged, is the journey itself, the frame narrative, actually the whole point of the masterpiece? The fragmented, unfinished nature of the text perfectly mirrors the chaotic reality of human society. It's the interactions, the arguments, the hypocrisy, and the shared road that make the Canterbury Tales an eternal classic. Use these structural points about character arcs and the frame narrative in your essay, and I promise you it's going to elevate your analysis. Keep digging in, and I hope this helps you absolutely ace that literature paper.